For many years now, Russ and Craig have had many wide-ranging conversations with folks from all over the gaming world. This is one of those conversations.
D6G, the Lost Chapter. Ooh, Craig, it is cold outside. I'm glad you got that Dunkin' Donuts here with me.
The wind is insane. God. Well, first of all, I have to say that none of the normal mortal Dunkin' Donuts are even open tonight.
No. You know,
which really annoyed me. I had to drive a half an hour to my parents' house to dig them out because neither of them are healthy enough to shovel, and we just got 14 inches of snow. And I was the whole way, I'll just go to the next Dunkin' Donuts. No Dunkin' Donut. I'll go to the next. Oh, no Dunkin'. I'm like, oh, my God. Well, you know what? The one right by my house never closes. It's great. It's always, that one's closed too. Oh, God. So we're lucky that the metaphysical, existential Dunkin' Donuts is open tonight.
And you know who else is open? Is Domino's. I got them to deliver tonight.
Yes,
I have to give them props.
I saw that. In Milford, there's a small building, and all it has in it is a Dunkin' Donuts and a Domino's.
Yeah.
The Dunkin' Donuts is dark, and the Domino's is wide open.
Nothing stops Domino's Pizza. They are always, doesn't matter how bad the snow is.
The post office.
A little later than normal, but you can't fault them for that. I give them a nice tip for getting out to my house in the snow.
At all,
yeah, right. Mad props to them. You know, people are like, why do you make them work? They're already working. Why don't I give them some money for being out there in this snowy night? You know?
Yeah. So, and it's so crazy. Rafe couldn't even make it.
No, he couldn't. So here we are, nestled in Dunks. We got I brought some of my Domino's pizza with me here, but I also ordered a nice coffee so that the guy doesn't get upset.
I got a hot chocolate I'm wrapped around.
So, you know, we haven't done in a while, Craig. We haven't done our patented Where Are They Now? You know, we discussed,
it's just you and me, buddy. Yeah. We might as well do it.
Let's talk about some of the things. Now, when we last left off, I believe, when we last stopped. For listeners who may not have listened to a prior Where Are They Now, we go back in time to older episodes of the D6 generation, and we look at what games we reviewed way back then, and then we talk about, do we still play them? What happened to those games? Why do we play them? Why do we not play them anymore? And where we left off last time was February 2014, which, if I think right, that's 3 years ago.
Feels like it was right around the corner.
Yeah, but it was 3 years ago, Craig. Right?
I know.
That's crazy talk, because it's February 2017 now. And in that time, in episode 142 in February, we discussed two things. One was Weird Miniature's next big thing, which was Ruined Planet. But we reviewed the game.
Did that ever come out?
I don't know what happened to that, honestly. That one I don't know. I don't know where that is now, devil. Honestly.
Speak of the next new big thing.
Yeah, why don't you Google that? But in a minute. But we did talk about in detail was Wild West Exodus. So this was the big sort of launch of the game. As many listeners know, Craig was heavily involved in the project, in the background, the fluff. It was a project by Romeo, and now 3 years later, you know, where is Wild West Exodus now, Craig?
Well, it's funny you should ask, Russ. Wild West Exodus has just gone through a massive shift, you could say, and Romeo and all the guys and gals over at Outlaw Miniatures have sold it to Wayland Games, which is a British online gaming store, who now have bought themselves a miniatures game, which is a very weird, interesting little twist, because at almost exactly the same time, apparently, and a little asterisk here, because this is all sort of hearsay from folks who were involved in the project but weren't directly involved with the companies involved. All's Quiet on the Martian Front apparently went bankrupt at roughly the same time and was acquired by Miniature Market, so which is a U.S. online game store. So you had All's Quiet on the Martian Front acquired by an online store, and you had for pennies on the dollar, and you had Wild West Exodus, which was sold at a very healthy moment in its development because it had just completed fulfillment on another successful Kickstarter. But Romeo loves his golf, I think, is what happened. And it was he is, if he can't give 100% on something, he wants to move on to the next thing. And the next thing right now is golf. And I don't know, he's probably making foam for nuclear weapons or something at this point. The man,
who can say?
He's got his little foamy fingers in everything. And so I've actually been dealing with the company, with Wayland, and the guys over in Wayland. They've got a pretty amazing, extensive plan for Wild West Exodus. So the short answer, of course, is no, we haven't been playing it.
Right. And any of our friends still playing it?
No, but everybody who had models, like, it's one of those weird things where no one has, like, we've been unloading you unload 40K on eBay all the time. You'll unload Mantic stuff all the time. So people are unloading lots of different things, but they don't unload Wild West Exodus for some reason.
No, I like the models.
And I should say that the Wild West Exodus train, the big giant heavy rail train, did make an appearance during Extra Life as a prop in a role-playing game.
Yeah. Well, it's funny because I still own all my Wild West Exodus miniatures. I have not parted with them because I really like them a lot. I love the models.
Yeah.
And I didn't love the rules.
Right.
And I'm excited be here because I believe the new owners have said they're going to redo some of the rules, right?
Yes,
so
they are going to. Yes,
it's
going to be
what happens
redone.
there. So I'm going to keep a close eye on this because I have to say, over the years, I love the universe. I love the concept of this sci-fi cowboy situation going on, and I love the look and feel of all the characters. I thought the initial poses, some of them were awesome, some of them were a little stilted, but that's all been fixed. And now almost every miniature released, I'd say in the last 2 years, has fantastic poses, really crazy cool stuff. So I love all that. I would just love a tighter, a little cleaner rule set. And so if that happens, I could get back into it because I like my Cowboys, Craig. I really do.
Yeah, it's funny you should mention this, but it's been very difficult for me to get in touch with the guys over in England because of the time difference, but also they're using a different kind of communication system than I'm used to, so I keep missing their calls and things like that. And it just so happened that today I got a Skype message from the guy in charge of the whole project. And he was like, hey, can you talk today? And I was like, oh, my God, I'm snowbound.
What a quinky dinky.
Yeah. So we had there's a lot I can't talk about, but there's some awesome stuff coming down the pike. There's a 2-player starter set coming out
nice.
In the next less than a year. I can't really give away anything too specific, but it's awesome. There's a huge publication schedule that they've got kind of like under the surface right now that they're hanging a lot of their releases on. They have new releases planned all the way through into 2018, and they have plans into 2019. So their production schedule is actually done out for the next 2 years with some really, really amazing plans. And one of the things that they were talking about is a desire to sort of focus in on what exactly Wild West Exodus is. Of course, it wants to be a lot of different things for a lot of different people. It wants to be the game that can go from 5 models to 100 models and with the same rule set. And it can. It's a little clunky, I would say, at either end, really. But what they want to do is they want to focus it down to sort of almost like at most a War Machine level model count.
Cool. So
you're talking like maybe 10 to 30, depending on what force you have, how they're armed out, and stuff like that.
Well, I like that.
So so there's a lot. So this is turning into what's up with Wild West Exodus. But
that's the point, though. So I think it's exciting. I think I'm really looking forward to it. So now you got me all excited, Craig, again, because I literally was just cleaning up my back room, saw those models, and whenever I do that, I'm like, should I get rid of them? And I can't. I really like them a lot. So I love the idea. I'm looking forward to it. I'm going to watch this very closely now.
Yeah, well, I've got a whole bunch of artwork on my computer right now that I'm actually transferring to files so that I don't lose it. And the models are still looking amazing, but there's a really, really cool sort of shift in the inspiration that I think people are really going to like.
Cool. And also, we started off by mentioning, also in episode 142, way back in February of 2014, we had interviewed Mac Martin, who at that time was with Weird Miniatures, about Weird Miniatures Ruined Planet. Now, I did a little research, Craig. Weird Miniatures Ruined Planet was Weird Miniatures, I'm doing air quotes here, army scale game.
Yes.
And it never came out. However, as you know, they just ran a Kickstarter for an army scale game, which is now called The Other Side. So I wonder if it's kind of like, remember Gates of Antares? We had them on the show way back and it got kind of delayed and then it came out. I kind of think something happened here similar where they were looking for doing it themselves a couple of years ago, 3 years ago, and they delayed it, and now it's back and has morphed into The Other Side. We should get some of the guys on from Weird back on the show and ask them about what's going on.
We should, because I have probably a very similar Google search page up right now to yours, and it was a sci-fi game at that point, and they must have decided that if it's working, don't fix it.
Well, if you look it's sci-fi-ish. Like if you look at The Other Side.
Yeah.
If
That's
you look
like
at the pictures,
steampunky.
It's sci-fi, like this robot, and it is the same universe as Malifaux, but it's the other side of the gate, right? The other side.
Right. It's this side.
But it is if you look at some of these pictures, it's aliens versus robots. So I kind of wonder if some of those sculpts got reused in this direction. But I'd be curious to find out what's going on with that as well. So that was February of 2014. Then we go into March. And we did a big review of the Savage World RPG, Accursed.
Yes.
Ross,
yes.
Ross we talked
Watson.
about Accursed, and we ran and Rafe ran an Accursed game. And where is Accursed now, Craig?
I have not played Accursed, and I think I love the system, and I think it's a really cool world that they've created. And actually, Ross did send me recently a novella that he had written for the world, which was really, really cool. Pirates. You can't go wrong with pirates.
Oh, you can't go wrong with
pirates. And it's a really cool world. I think what happened with me in my head was with so many, when you're going to throw down a role-playing game, there's a lot right now that's kind of like pulling people in a bunch of different directions, or at least the group that I'm playing with. And which includes all of those, the Nerd Herder guys, right. And then our friends like Joe and Pete and your brother and you, and so we had the D&D thing going, and then your brother his work schedule kind of messed with that, and he lost interest in really kind of pushing forward with that because it's so much work. And I think you were doing a lot of that work for your family stuff, so he was like, why do I do all that work when I could just play in Russ's game? So that kind of fell off. But then locally, like there's the D&D push with the rogue stuff, and I think the Accursed is neat, but I think you've got monsters and you're the actor. You're trying to be good guys, and if that doesn't immediately speak to you out of the gate, I think there's not a lot there that will pull it out of the, theme wise and genre wise out of the bickering, shouting mob that is all the role-playing games that are currently clamoring to get played. So
I think it's about the niche, right? If you like that niche, you're going to want
exactly. If you like horror,
that's the best one.
In particular, that's going to be because you're playing the horror monsters and they're all traditional.
And Savage Worlds is an awesome system, so it's a great combo. I just don't. We play so many games that I only have really time for one RPG, and that's really D&D, just based on my family. But if I were I know there are gamers out there that pretty much only play RPGs, and to mix it up, they switch genres continually, and you're in great shape. But I think, I don't think it became a big hit locally with my folks here, but there were a few campaigns when it came out, and people were excited about it. It was a solid system.
Right. And it's still going strong.
Yeah.
Elsewhere.
Now, the next episode would have been 144, which was the end of March. And this one featured our friend, the Cowboy Guy, who did a lot of the bumpers for us back then. Running them on the show. And we talked about in that show, the game review we did was Russian Rails. And Craig, I don't think you played this one. I played this one.
I did not.
It was at the time in 2014, it was one of the hotnesses for Euros, the big hot Euro that was at the time. It's still a great game. It's a Z-Man game. I do see it on the table occasionally. I haven't played it recently, but it's only because there's so many great Euros out there, and games, other games have sort of supplanted it. But I know it's still out there, and if you're a Railroad fan, and if you're a Euro fan, Russian Railroads is a great game still. But I don't see it more often than other games. It doesn't seem to be the game that kind of held on in our group more than any other or anything like that.
No.
So that was March 2014. Then moving on to April, Crossmasters, Craig. We did a big review of Crossmasters. Now, I know you built your own Crossmasters board.
I do.
You liked it that much.
I'm looking at it right now.
So you built a custom Crossmasters board. Of course, I got into Crossmasters. My daughters played it. We got really into it. There was a couple sleepovers that my niece and nephew came over, and the four of them played Crossmasters until the crack of dawn. Yeah. This is the game with the cool plastic polystyrene miniatures that are fully colored, but they're colored in different pieces of plastic. So they don't look painted. They look like assembled. They're really high quality stuff. Very anime style. There's little cardboard trees. Or
they're
really
chibi.
splurge.
It's all
they're
chibi.
chibis, right? It's all chibi.
Yeah.
Each guy's a different character, their own powers, strengths, and weaknesses, and basically you're dueling on the board here, and there's different objectives, but essentially you're just this big brawl. Craig, have you played Crossmasters in a while? Is it something that Reese got into at all?
I have played it with Reese like in the last year, and he loves it, and he wants to play it. Every time he sees the board, he asks if we can play it, and I kind of steer him away from it because he can't. He's learning how to read. He can read really well for a kid his age, but reading all the specific rules and then keeping them in your head, I would rather, if I'm going to do that for my own interest, usually I would rather try to stumble through. We stumbled through Dead Zone this week. We stumbled through another game of Frostgrave. We have stumbled through. What else did we stumble through? We've been doing a lot of stumbling through, and I enjoy those. I mean, I haven't gotten rid of any of it. I still really like it. I love the way it looks. I went all in. I went and I hunted down and paid top dollar for everything that they came out with in the first Kickstarter. So I have everything from the first one. I don't have anything from the second one because I restrained myself. But I have that board. I still really enjoy looking at the game, and if it came out, I would be very happy to play it. I think not this past PattyCon, but the PattyCon before that, I think I played with somebody. I think I might have played with Pete or John. And so, I haven't played it recently, except for once with Reese, and he still wants to play it. But I still think it's a great game, and it's everywhere. There was an entire Crossmaster booth at Captain Con.
Oh, yeah, it's still very popular. My daughters and I haven't played it in a while, mostly because War Machine has kind of usurped it as they've gotten older, but it's still great. I do like it a lot, and I haven't got rid of mine either because it's such a beautiful game. I can't bear to part with it. Let's see. Then there's May. Then we went into May here. Oh, May, Craig. Speaking of Captain Con, back in May of 2014, we talked about Captain Con again and Adepticon. This time, though, this was when Captain Con was first getting ready to launch, and we were talking about it coming up in June of that year. So this is back in the heady days of early Captain Con. But while we were at Adepticon that year, we ran into two games. One was Dead Zone, and the other Ethereum. Now, Ethereum we dabbled with, but we kind of walked away from. But Dead Zone caught our fancy, if you remember.
Yes, indeed. In fact, I played it 2 days ago.
There you go. So Dead Zone is definitely... this was the first version of Dead Zone we got into back in 2014. You and I both hit it really hard. We got all the stuff. We got all the models. I got into it. We played it quite a bit. Then I can't remember what distracted us from it, but now the new edition's out.
Well, it's a miniatures game, so it's going to kind of the sort of the lifespan of a miniatures game in our group is measured in months.
Right.
And this one, and it made it for a while. I mean, I made all that terrain, and and then it kind of faded away. And then they did the Kickstarter, which just delivered just a couple months ago. So it's just getting a whole revitalization again. Locally, there's a lot of. I don't know if it's going to come of anything, but there's a lot of talk about doing a campaign.
Oh, that'd be cool.
Because there's a campaign system, and now of course you have more teams than you had in 2014.
Yeah, so that's great. Well, and it definitely, so it's definitely held up. It's definitely still going, and I think that's a good example of kickstarting it to breathe more life back into it. It shipped, and now we're all excited about the new edition. So yeah, Dead Zone still getting some good traction as a real quality skirmish sci-fi game. Nothing wrong with that. And I think its uniqueness of the squares and the small. I like its smallness, right? You can play on
It's contained.
It's contained. It's on a 3x3 mat. You can play on a normal table. You can make it look great with the bits of terrain that come in the box plus the mat, and it just it's just a fun, quick game to. I don't know if it's quick. It's a fun game to play and set up though, which I like a lot.
Right. It's relatively quick.
It's pretty quick.
And I love the fact that you're doing a 2 foot by 2 foot board, so you can really kind of pack in the terrain and make it like with the stuff that I have. And when Reese and I play, I'm like, okay, Reese, do you want to play in a city or a ruined city? Because I have both. And he's like, oh, I wanted to play in a city. So you got the cars and you got the business signs out there that we picked up last year, I think, at Adepticon.
Yep.
From Ironheart Artisans, I think was the company.
Right.
And it looks great. I know we both picked up those signs. And I used them for the first time with Reese this week, and they look awesome. They make the whole thing totally change it right up into a Blade Runner cityscape. It was great.
Right.
It was awesome.
Right. All right, Craig.
So I still think it's a strong game.
I do. It's exciting. And look, it just looks so phenomenal. That's the magic of it.
Yeah.
All right, Craig, this one's going to make you cry.
This is going to make me cry.
Hang on. Episode 147, we reviewed Chaos Ball.
Chaos Ball.
Chaos Ball is the game. This was a Kickstarter that both Craig and I went all in on. So
this was probably the first that I'd ever gone all in
and
on.
We got tons of stuff. How many teams? 13 teams?
No, it's like 18.
18
Yeah.
teams.
18. If you went all in, it's like
the
18
core
teams.
Game. Each team is like how many models? 9, 10, 12 guys? I can't remember.
It's like 16, but you really only needed.
But
I think you needed like 7.
Amazing. It's a cool mini or not game. So amazing sculpts, gobs and gobs of plastics. And the reason I think Craig would cry is that Craig painted every single model. How many models is that, Craig?
Yeah.
18 teams, 12 guys a team.
Well, it's over 100. If you go to my Twitter feed and look at the pictures, because eventually there is a picture of
Chaos Ball,
of all of it on my custom made Chaos Ball board.
Yes. Well, doesn't your Crossmaster board turn into a Chaos Ball board?
It does.
That's how you did.
Indeed.
Yeah, well played, sir.
Yeah.
So Chaos Ball. And by the way, I played it quite a bit. You and I played it quite a bit. There was a summer, I think it might have been the summer of 2014 or I can't remember, where John and I played it several weekends back to back and got into a thing with it.
Right.
Really enjoy Chaos Ball. It's a really good, clean, fun, fast game that really the simplicity belies the depth of play in it. And it's a really, really good game. I think what's replaced it potentially is Guild Ball. Quite frankly, but is that why did it leave sort of your? Because I haven't seen you play. Maybe you do still play. Do you play it enough? A lot?
No, I haven't. Yeah. No, I haven't played.
It seems like a good Reese
played.
game. Wouldn't Reese like it? You think? It's not super complicated.
He might actually. He might. I hadn't even thought about that. So I might pull that out. I'd have to find all the tiles to change the. I have 2 different. This is what I did. I have a beautiful base. Yeah. I have 2 different setups for Crossmaster Arena, and then I have a third setup using totally different tiles that make it into the Chaos Ball pitch. So I would have to find those, but that's probably not a bad idea. Yeah. I might try that because he keeps asking. I did play Guild Ball. That's the other thing we dabbled with. I did a quick Guild Ball thing with him, and he keeps wanting to play more of that, which is not really. We didn't really actually play it. So, that might be. That's a good idea, Russ. I might just do that.
Well, I haven't played it in a long time because, mostly because of Guild Ball. But I should because it's a great game. My girls might like it too. So I should break that out again, Craig, because it is a good game.
Yeah, I think I might do that, Russ.
There you go. Try that out.
Yeah, next snow day.
There you go. So that was May 2014. Now in June of 2014, we got a little sloppy. We only had 1 episode in June. That's a little embarrassing.
Oh well,
often, but what happens once in a while. And we can kind of buzz through this one because this is where we did the Dead Zone detailed review. So what ended up happening was we picked up Dead Zone back in April at Adepticon, and then we got around to reviewing it in detail in June of that year. And of course, we already talked about that. So Dead Zone, still good stuff. So that was June 2014. So let's see what happened in July of 2014. Going here to my fancy pants. By the way, if you want to go and listen to our old episodes, go to the D6Generation.com, scroll down to the right-hand side, and you'll see all the months and years of episodes there, and you can quickly find a particular genre or time period.
Delve through.
You can. So in, let's see. So then in June, this also happened at the end of June. It's just sort of the weird way it works. The last episode in June was, we had Garrett Wang on the show, which was awesome.
Oh, yes.
But then we had a bunch of patron supporters on the show and talked to them, which is great, but no game review there, so we'll skip 149.
Yeah. We should do that again soon.
We should. We owe the community that, and we feel bad about that, so we'll do that.
Yes, we do.
And why don't we wrap it up with episode 150 here, Craig? So in episode 150, we talked about the Mantic community and the Dead Zone campaign system. Now, did we ever play a Dead Zone camp? We started the one.
We did not.
Well, we tried the one. Did you try it with me? The one, what was it called?
The two-player one?
The Strain, the two-player Strain one. Did you and I play that one?
No,
we did.
I don't think so.
Maybe not. Have you played the campaign system with anyone yet?
No.
So we got to do that still.
Yep. But I know the community is wicked super strong because you've got Pat, who we had on the show.
Yes, right. Pat was on the show.
Pat was on the show talking about the Mantic community. He's still super strong. You can find him manning the Mantic booth at Gen Con every year and Adepticon. So so the Mantic community is still strong, and of course, since then they now have the Warpath sci-fi game that just isn't still in the process actually of being fulfilled through their Kickstarter. Mm-hmm. You have the Walking Dead All Out War game that I didn't go all in actually, but I went in pretty strong because I loved the game so much. I played it a bunch. They were giving those rules away during the Kickstarter. I played that a bunch. And they've got campaign systems and they've got community systems set up for all that stuff. So Mantic is very strong with their communities still, and they're expanding every year. They're adding new games to their catalog.
Oh yeah, and we talked about this last year too. Kings of War is still doing very well. You see a lot of those events at places like Adepticon. So Mantic is still very, very strong, and they have several now great properties that are doing great. So you keep an eye on Mantic. They're still rocking it, and their miniatures just keep getting stronger and stronger too. So they're awesome. So there you go, Craig. That took us through episode 150. That's probably a good place to pause this time around. Plus, we should probably get back home before the snow gets any deeper here.
It looks like it's going to be an adventure getting home, even from this location.
Yeah, I'm going to get a couple more hot chocolates to go here so I can give the kids something when I get back.
Yeah, there you go. Good idea. Before they close out, because these guys want to go home too.
Yeah, we'll get home safe, man.
Yeah.
Take care.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for purchasing a D6G Lost Chapter. Supporting the show helps it grow.